I get it, you're staring at the price tag on a new Rothenberger drain cleaning machine and wondering if you'll ever actually need the whole toolbox that comes with it. Maybe a buddy of yours just upgraded to the R650 and is trying to decide whether to splurge on the 11-piece L22mm set or just pick up a couple of bits later. You don't want to waste cash on tools that will sit idle in the garage, but you also don't want to be stuck halfway through a tough root clog job because you missed the right cutter. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing I looked at was the real-world workflow of a plumber who runs a mix of residential and light commercial jobs. Those guys usually have a single Rothenberger machine, the R600, R650, or R750, and they hop from a kitchen sink to a small-diameter sewer line all day. What they need is a compact, interchangeable set that slides onto the machine without fiddling with extra adapters, and that's exactly where this L22mm kit claims to slot in. What's actually inside the box? You get a separating pin, a serrated forked cutter, a short bulb auger, a crossblade cutter, a chain spinning head, minus the ring, and a pair of left/right rubber gloves, all sized for 22mm pipe. At first glance that looks like a lot, but the value really shows up when you picture the kind of clogs you encounter on the job. Take the serrated forked cutter. I've seen a lot of plumbers complain about sludge that builds up in the bottom of a bathroom line, think hair, soap scum, and a dash of mineral deposit that has hardened over months. The serrated edges bite into that mess and pull it out without having to grind the pipe open. In practice, you hook the cutter onto the machine, feed it down the line, and the forks separate the sludge in a single pull. It's not a miracle tool for massive tree roots, but for the everyday gross clogs that make a homeowner groan, it saves you the extra step of flushing with chemicals. Then there's the short bulb auger. Most of the time you'll be dealing with tight 90-degree bends under a sink or behind a wall. A long, rigid auger just won't make the turn and you end up scraping the pipe or, worse, snapping the shaft. The bulb shape flexes just enough to follow the curve, yet stays stiff enough to push through a modest blockage. I've watched a contractor use it on a cramped bathroom remodel where the pipe ran behind a tiled wall. The tool negotiated the bend without the machine having to be repositioned, cutting down his labor time by a noticeable margin. The crossblade cutter is the heavy hitter for those occasional root intrusions in a suburban sewer line. It's serrated on both sides, so you get a grinding action that can shave through the softer parts of a root without gouging the pipe wall. The caveat? It's optimized for 22mm pipe, so if you're on a 32mm main you'll need a different cutter. That's something to keep in mind if your service area includes larger municipal lines. Now the chain spinning head, this one is a bit of a mixed bag. Without the accompanying ring, you have to rely on the two chains to hold the head in place. In most cases the chains are sufficient for greasy, oily deposits that coat the interior of a pipe. However, if you're tackling a pipe that's heavily coated in petroleum-based grease, the head can wobble a bit, which means you'll need to be a tad more patient and possibly make a second pass. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's a nuance that a first-time buyer might not expect. Finally, the rubber gloves. They might look like a minor addition, but they're a practical safety net when you're manually feeding a cutter into a cramped space. The left/right design means you can grip the tool from either side, reducing hand strain and keeping your fingers away from any sudden jerks of the machine. So, who should actually buy this set? If you own an R600, R650, or R750 and you run a job site that regularly encounters a mix of hair clogs, minor root intrusions, and tight bends, this kit is a solid, all-in-one solution. The fact that everything is precised for 22mm means you won't waste time hunting for the right attachment, you just snap it on and go. For a small to mid-size plumbing business, the convenience factor translates into quicker turnovers and less inventory to track. On the flip side, if you're a DIY homeowner who only needs to unclog a kitchen sink once a year, you'll probably never reach for the serrated forked cutter or the crossblade cutter. In that case, buying a single, cheaper attachment for your rented machine, or even renting the whole machine for the day, makes more sense financially. Likewise, if your service area includes a lot of larger diameter mains, you'll find this 22mm kit limiting. You'd be better off investing in a broader range of size-specific tools rather than